has rallied to 1.71%. This comes after the US President Donald Trump has announced a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. The markets declined after the world's two largest economies have engaged in a trade war ignited by US President Donald Trump's administration. The US markets once again saw a sharp sell-off in the Thursday's trade, where Nasdaq closed 4.6% lower. The global rout will impact the domestic markets in Friday's trade. However, the gift Nifty indicates a different picture. It is up 1.8% at 22,900. Meanwhile, the US dollar has weakened 2.28% against the Japanese yen and 2.19 against the euro. The dollar index falls below the 100 mark for the first time since July 2023. It is currently trading around the 100 mark. The dollar index has had a sharp fall in 2025 so far. It is down nearly 8% so far this year. So will global markets continue to tank? And are India's indices being in green testament to the resilience of our markets? Well, to answer these questions and to also give us a good sense of how should we look forward to the Indian markets faring at this point of time, I have Dr. Sharad, who is a senior economist, joining me live on the broadcast. Sir, appreciate you joining me this time, and of course, always a pleasure understanding from you about how the markets are doing. And as you have heard exactly how the Indian markets are comparatively faring well to the global indices, where the dollar and its value continues to in fact see a sharp fall. How do you react to this?
Good morning, Simran, and good morning to the viewers of NewsX. There are two reasons why markets are in positive today. Yesterday was a holiday in India, and the markets were closed. And day before yesterday, the US markets had reacted very positively. The Indian markets were supposed to take the cues yesterday, but they were closed. And then yesterday, the US markets were down. So overall, we call this in the market language as a gap up. So the markets have opened with a gap up. The second reason why markets are up is that it is now being perceived that this trade war is going to remain, restrained to US and China. So from India, that 26% tariff has been paused for 90 days, although it's just a pause. But I feel it's too early to conclude that we have turned around and the bear market or the market falling has ended. That's not true, because markets are going to remain very volatile. We should not forget 145% tariff now levied on China by America. 124, 25 plus another 20 that fentanyl drug smuggling case has made White House levy another 20%. So that makes it 145% now, which is an unrealistic, impractical, which is any $100 stuff landing from China in America is now going to cost you almost $250, which is an unrealistic price. I really don't think trade can happen between these two largest economies in the world at this price. Already 84% has been levied by China, and now in a recent announcement, China said we are going to ban Hollywood movies in China. So I think it's going to be blow after blow. It's tit for tat, one after the other announcements coming. This is definitely not sustainable, and if you ask me honestly, this is not good for global economy. We should not forget the two economies together, they add up to almost $50 trillion, which is almost 40 to 50% of the world economy. So if the two of the biggest economic powers are fighting between each other, are in a trade war, you cannot expect the global economy to thrive. As far as India is concerned, India will also have to bear the brunt, but in a very limited way. India may end up being beneficiaries in many sectors, because at this expensive rate, America cannot import from China. So obviously America will have to look at alternate suppliers, and India is one of the very prominent suppliers, whether it is electronics, whether it is textiles, whether it is food products. There's a long list of items, Simran, which comes from China to America. You go to any departmental store in America, there is a probability you will hit a Chinese connection there, either directly or indirectly. So I'm not sure how Chinese economy, the American economy for that matter, is going to survive, because people in America for decades have been used to using China goods at a very, very reasonable price. Now, where is America going to source those goods? Problem one. Problem two, Where is America going to source at this price? That's
So,
the
Mr.
second
Kohli,
problem.
how do you look at the possible outcome of this trade tariff war that is escalating into a bigger fight? And as you have yourself pointed out, that this is not going to paint a picture that's economically and in fact or more diplomatically also nice for the other economies, and specifically for India as well. What do you see coming out of this Trump tariff war that is engaged with China, completely in focus, hooked on the fact that the tariffs should be brought down and then only a deal would be struck for a more sustainable and a peaceful manner of doing the trade?
Well, Simran, I say this with a lot of regret that, when economic distress builds beyond a limit, when you push the limits, between the two nations, jobs are being lost because of the problem being created by the other nation, factories closing down. This can also convert to a geopolitical conflict, a military conflict. I was regretting to say this, but if this escalates any further, I think it will create a very complicated situation geopolitically. So fingers crossed, I hope everything goes okay. But as for the economic outcome, I think China and America both will have to probably sit down together to resolve this. There is no other way this can be resolved. I am very, very convinced about that, because this will just lead to it's like one missile being fired, another missile being fired, one rocket being fired, another rocket being fired. I really don't think this is going to go anywhere. And most importantly, Simran, this is going to tumble the world economy into recession, and the after effects of that recession to a certain extent are going to be felt in India also. We cannot remain immune to the global economic situation entirely, although we are a domestic economy, we are a consumption driven economy, but we have now $800 billion plus of export, which we are doing to rest of the world. And if the world economy goes into recession, it is definitely going to have a rippling and a cascading effect on us as well. So I'm sure China and America.
Well, all right, Mr. Kohli, thank you very much for putting this out and also sharing your thoughts and putting this in complete context for the benefit of our viewers who are looking at the markets faring well. Now, viewers, on that note, with